My SPED talk is on Three.js. It's an open source JavaScript library that uses WebGL to create and render 3D computer graphics. It's available on all browsers that support WebGL, and Three.js's official website provides a link for you to see which browsers support WebGL and in turn should support Three.js work. It's easier to use than WebGL, and it doesn't require browser plugins, which is especially important for my project because browser plugins can cause compatibility issues. So if I were to create a game on Firefox that required browser plugins, and then I tried to play the game on a different browser, the game might crash or not show up at all. Three.js can be used to create games, interactive modules, panoramas, to work with particles, like showing how they move relative to something such as sound. Some main features of Three.js are audio, VR capabilities, shaders, which you can provide your own or use the ones that they provide for you. There's different camera modes, there's animation, different renderers, and different shapes, which you can also either create your own or use the ones that they provide for you. Here is some example code that's on the first page of their documentation. They create a scene here and then a camera so you can see what's going on in the scene. You have your renderer for the graphics. And then here they're creating a cube, which requires a geometry and a material. The geometry here gives the dimensions of the cube, and the material here is what the cube is going to look like. And here they're giving it a color, but you can add shininess or different features to the cube as well. Here they're adding the cube to the scene, and then they set a camera position on the z-axis. You can add the other axes positions as well if you want. And then here in their animate function, they have a rotation on the X and Y axis, and the cube is rotating on these axes at a speed of this value here, so you can either increase or decrease the speed at which the cube rotates on those axes. And then here is their official website. It showcases a couple of different projects created by a whole bunch of different people. There's games, interactive modules, and some of them even have VR capabilities. In this left upper corner right here, they provide the documentation and examples. So if you're confused on something, you can go to the examples and say, hey, I want to know how to animate a cloth. You click on that, and it will show you an animated cloth right here. And then you can click this source code in the bottom right corner. It will take you to a GitHub that has the source code for how that example was done, and then you can work with that. And I have my own example app running right here, which is just the basic example code that was shown before. I'm going to change the color by giving it a hex value, so I'm going to make it blue. And now my cube is blue. And here are a few different shapes. There's only 2 new shapes that I'm providing here. This is a ring, and this is actually a sphere, but because I don't have any shading on it, you can't see the dimensions of it, and it just looks like a regular circle. And here I am creating a shadow, so I'm giving a light source and then having a shadow underneath my cube. And so the shadow's right here, the light source is here following this white line, and this white line is to show you where the light source is coming from, and then this green and this red line are showing the axes in case, so to help you not get lost while you're creating this and working with the camera. It can get quite confusing. And down here I have some audio that I added to the page, and it's an alien spaceship. It's a free clip, but I had to change it into a .ogg file for it to run. And I have it so that the moment you get to the page, it starts going off immediately. And here we can change the speed at which the cube rotates on the x-axis. And you can see it's moving ridiculously fast. And that's my example for Three.js.